What's up, y'all? It's your guy, eBay Fight Predictions in the building. And this is your Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Kattar breakdown for UFC 300. Obviously, we all know Aljamain Sterling is making his 145 featherweight pound debut against the hard-hitting Calvin Kattar. I love the matchup. It's a great fight. Hey, Aljamain, we're back, baby. How you been, buddy? Hello, sir. I haven't seen you in a minute. You're not wearing that 135-pound belt anymore, buddy. You're not terrorizing eBay's favorite fighters no more, buddy. All right, enough of laughing at Aljamain's expense. Yeah, we all know Aljamain's coming off a knockout loss. He got kicked out 135 pounds, and now he's fighting at 145 pounds to see if he can have the same success as he did as a bantamweight. And I think the answer is a big no. Okay, here are the facts. Now, there are some concerning sides on both particular parties. Now, I'm a big Calvin Kattar fan, so I'm a little biased here. But Calvin Kattar's 36, coming off an ACL injury. And hasn't fought since 2022. Now, it was late 2022, but hasn't fought since then. So that's almost what? Close to a year and 5 months. So it's been a long, long time since he's fought. And he's fighting against a high-level grappler who's going to be shooting at the legs, who's going to be triumphing him. So those are the concerning things for the Calvin Kattar side. Now, for the Aljamain fangirls out there, they like to say, if Aljo gets your back, it's a wrap. Now, all those people that like saying that, here are the facts. Your boy has a weak chin. We saw what happened when a long, lanky white boy. No, I'm just playing. We saw what a long, lanky striker did to him, who was just putting that jab out there and putting that jab near his face. And we saw what happened there. And he got touched up. And when he got touched up with that cross, he kissed the floor. We all saw what happened. So those are kind of the concerning sides. Obviously, Aljamain's chin. I'm so used to calling him Aljamain. Aljo, all right? I'm sorry, Aljo's chin, and obviously how well he's going to take punches at 145 pounds. Now, everyone bringing up, oh, he's going to be bigger, he's going to be hydrated, this and that. Okay, that's cool. They said the same thing about Luke Rockhold when we went to 205. Now, Luke's my boy, but what happened, So I think a lot of people are kind of doubting Kattar here in this spot. Yeah, I know he's 36, and that's not a good look here. But, I mean, Aljo got smoked in his last fight. And that wasn't too long ago. That was like, okay, well, it was he's rested 7 months. But still, it's last August, bro, for God's sake. So, I don't know. It should be a good fight. I think how this matches up, they can give each other a really good run for their money. So, I think it'll be a good fight, and I can't wait for it, and that's why I'm breaking it down now. But yeah, here's the thing. So before we talk about what side I'm going with, the strategies for both, let's talk about the tail of the tape. Obviously, Calvin Kattar comes to a record of 23-7. Is fighting out of Massachusetts, age 36, a height of 5'11", a reach of 72. And Mr. Aljamain Sterling's coming with a record of 23-4. Is fighting out of New York, or he's actually fighting out of Vegas. Age 34, a height of 5'7", and a reach of 71. So obviously, Aljo's still in his prime, and I always give him that. And Aljo's had some of the best performances of his career these last few years. Obviously, all of those fights have a bit of controversy in them. So let's I've said this before, right? Aljo's contender run is more legitimate than that title run. And let's talk about his title run, right? So at bantamweight, he defeated Peter Yan via taking a knee to the dome, right? Now, obviously, that was on Yan for not knowing the rules, as they like to say. But yeah, he was basically getting his ass beat the whole fight, and a knee kind of saved him, basically. Next up, he runs it back with Peter Yan, and that was a more competitive fight. Now, he won 2 rounds. I always give him that. The first round was super, super tight, and obviously Yan won the 4th and 5th. Now, I think he got away with one, but hey, I always respect the fact that he won those important rounds, the first and the third. and he showed a tremendous back control. Now, Aljo, he's a weird, funky guy on the feet, but he does a nice job of chaining his wrestling and his striking. And that's kind of what he did to Jan here. He was able to chain his wrestling striking to get that back control. And, hey, he arguably got a 10-8. So, hey, it is what it is. And then he fought TJ Dillashaw with one arm, basically, one shoulder. And he beat the shit out of him. Probably his most impressive title defense where he completely dominates someone. But 36-year-old TJ Dillashaw at bantamweight at 135 pounds, one shoulder. There's a lot of things going into that fight that were just very, very suspicious and just basically fake. I'm sorry, but it just was very weird how that fight went about. So, yeah, I feel like it was some bullshit that happened that day, but hey, what can I do? And I picked Aljo in that matchup, but still, he won. And then the Henry Cejudo debacle. We all know how I feel about this. I thought Cejudo obviously won that fight. I thought he won at least rounds 2, 3, and 5. That's just my humble opinion. And obviously they gave it to Aljo, and it wasn't really an impressive performance. Yeah, at the time it was cool because he got a takedown on Cejudo, but Merab did it already, so who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares? And yeah, and then obviously he fought Sean O'Malley. He got smoked in the second round, couldn't get a takedown to save his life, and he lost, right? He lost that fight. So it is what it is. Yeah, so that's Aljo's title reign, but I mean his contender fights are amazing. I mean after he lost Marlon Rice, where he got knocked out viciously, which, praise the Lord, Marlon Rice, we watch that on repeat every day. I mean, he went on a good run. Brett Johns, Cody Stamen, Jimmy Rivera, Pedro Munoz, and then his rear naked choke over Corey Sandhagen, which was amazing. He got him out of there in a minute. And that's when I respected Aljo. He was a legitimate contender that wasn't using fluke machines to, I don't know, somehow win these fights by either split decision or just tomfoolery. But you know what I'm saying? This is when he was actually winning fights honorably. But hey, it is what it is. But now we're here. He's making his featherweight debut. I think a lot of pressure from the fans, and also just the fact of your moral code and your promise. This man. Like I can go off on Aljo all day. He's such a hypocrite. He talks about I want my rematch against Sean O'Malley, right? And then 3 weeks before the fight, he says, "Oh, when I win against Sean O'Malley, Merab can have the next title shot. I'll be going up to 145." And there's just weird standstill between him and Merab supported it like a weirdo, and it was just really, really just weird and disgusting what was happening. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of it. It wasn't right, and I think people spoke up. Merab fought Cejudo. And I just think enough was enough, man. And just enough was enough. And I think he even realized, all right, Sean O'Malley's never going to give me a title shot. I'm just a low ranking champion. I was a placeholder champ. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a guy in the right spot for the new kid, the new superstar to take the spot. So I think he knows that he couldn't politic or luck his way back into a title shot or as a champion. He wasn't going to get anywhere near that belt. So I think he knew it was time to move up, and he has a better chance contending for a belt at 145 than he did at 135. So yeah. Now Calvin Kattar, I love Calvin Kattar. Calvin Kattar is awesome. He is the man. I think has some of the best boxing. I would say it's him. It's him, Max, Volk, and then Ilya in terms of boxing, pure boxing, and who has really the best hands. And obviously, I think Kattar is so good. And I know Kattar, he's let me down a few times. Famously, I was one of the guys that picked Kattar to beat Max Holloway. So I went down and took that L on the chin. But, hey, it is what it is. But Kattar is just that guy sometimes. He really is, man. The man has great boxing, has great placement, great counters, great timing. He's a bit of a slow starter. I would say that's probably one of his biggest issues. But, man, I mean, he debuted against Andre Philly, beat the shit out of him, knocked out Shane Burgos in the third round in a spectacular fashion. He lost to Renato Mocayo based on leg kicks, but besides that, I mean, he came back, finished Chris Fishgold and Ricardo Lamas, and then he had the Zabit fight, which, this is a fight I kind of like to implore people to look. Fought a grappler, fought a guy that was, trying to go and wrestle him a little bit, and he lost. But I think he lost because he really didn't have enough time to go out there and really impose his game plan. In a 5-round fight, he finishes Zabit. I think we all know that. I think that's just the simple truth. Then he goes out there, destroys Jeremy Stevens, Dan Ige, and then he fights Max Holloway, gets smoked there, and then, in my opinion, one of my favorite Calvin Kattar wins is when he fought Giga Chikadze. Now the whole world told me Giga was going to do this, was going to do that, and all that rah-rah. And Calvin Kattar showed levels to his game, his wrestling, his pressure, his stance switches, all the things he did, his jab, just all the things he implemented. And that's why I kind of wish this fight was a 5-round fight, because, man, if it's a 5-round fight, Aljo is done. But I still think Kattar has a good shot of just upsetting him still, even though, 3-round implications aren't at his favor. But man, he fucking melted Giga. Then he fights Josh Emmett. I thought he won the Josh Emmett fight. It was a close fight, but I thought he won. I'm just being honest. I rewatched it. I thought he won. I thought the jab was there, and I thought he was beating up Emmett pretty good. And you could just see his face in Emmett. And I'm just, facts are facts, y'all. And then obviously the Arnold Allen performance. I can't lie. Allen was landing, but I don't think he was gonna do that for the whole duration of the fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I really don't. And I truly believe Kattar would have found his groove, his rhythm, and he would have started implementing his game plan, would have started beating Arnold Allen. We just saw fucking Mozart Evloev rock Arnold Allen, for God's sake. So, I don't think that's a real win for Allen here. A bit of a fluke. I don't want to discredit him, say like, oh, it just injury happened. Nah, he was doing good work in the first round. I will give Allen that, but besides that, I think Kattar, if they run that back, which I think they should, hopefully, I think Kattar beats him. But that's just my opinion. Now, Kattar hasn't fought in a minute, and he's coming off a very horrible injury. But when we talk about skills, we all know what Aljo's going to come here and try to do. I know some recent little thing, he said that, oh, I'm going to try and make this look like the Max Holloway fight, Shut up. Bro, you're not going to do that. We all know your style. That's You and Max Holloway are not on the same echelon of striking, and you don't even like to strike like that. You know what I'm saying? But what he's going to try to do is, obviously, he's going to strike with Kattar for a little bit, because Kattar is such a box-oriented guy, and obviously Aljo's a funky, kind of well-rounded striker to a certain degree for his style, because, obviously he's a grappler. So he's a good striker for a grappler, right? So obviously he's going to mix in the kicks. He's going to mix in the long jabs and the strikes, and just try to, see what he can create in terms of openings to look for the single leg. Obviously he has a great single leg. And then, what he does really good is getting the single and then turning into a double. That's what he's really good at. And obviously trying to get the back and then control his opponent that way. That's what Aljo is going to be looking for. Can he do it? Of course. I mean, we saw Zabit control Kattar for basically a whole minute in the third round. It's not impossible. I don't doubt that he has that ability. He's obviously he's on the pound for pound rankings for a reason. Like, as much as I dislike Aljo, he's still a good fighter, and I can't deny that. Has some of the best grappling, and has a really good ability to mix in his strikes with his grappling, find openings. He's really good at that. But here's the thing: doesn't like getting hit. Suspect chin, that's another thing. And I just think Kattar, I mean, he has the longer arms, and Aljo at 135 did such a great job of undercover weight bullying. And a lot of people might fucking scoff at that, but he was really big, all right? And he's really long. Go watch that Pedro Munoz fight. It's like basically a featherweight fighting a flyweight. He was so long, and he just was so big. He didn't even need to grapple. He just fucking reach bullied him. And then these other guys he's fighting, like Peter Yan or TJ, he's just so much bigger than these guys. You can just see it in his frame, and he's just able to outmuscle these guys. Yeah, I think of course he's going to go out there and be the bigger guy and impose as well. But here he's not. He's not going to be the bigger guy here. He's really not going to be the longer guy here. Kattar is. I just think if Kattar get that jab going, and if he's 1/3 of what he used to be, dude, he can fucking beat the shit out of this guy. I just think the 1-2 down the pipe is there, the jab is there, and I think he can really beat the dog crap out of Aljo. And Aljo can't hurt Kattar. I'm sorry, like I just don't see it. Now, I'm not saying I shouldn't say he can't. There is a possibility where he can. Anyone can get hurt in this game. I shouldn't say that. Like if Aljo lands a flying knee, I mean Kattar might get rocked, but most likely there's nothing coming from Aljo's side in terms of striking that Kattar should fear. I'm just being honest. Kattar has a great chin. We've all seen it. He's taking great shots. He's taken a lot of damage, and he's kept going. So I think if Kattar can, get his rhythm, get his jab going, I think he can beat this kid. I really, really do. And I think he can separate himself from Aljamain Sterling and finally beat him. I got Kattar here by 3rd round TKO. I think he finishes Aljo. I think Aljo has some success early. I think if he can get the wrestling going on, I think he can probably win the 1st or the 2nd round. But I think that 1-2 down the pipe is going to be a little too much for him. He's going to keep getting hit. He's going to get hurt. And I think Kattar's going to do a good job of sprawling, imposing his weight, showing that he's the bigger man. And yeah, maybe getting some elbows in, breaking Aljo. And I don't think Aljo's that good off his back. That's another thing. Aljo's really, he's also an I shouldn't say overrated grappler, but he's also like, there's moments where his grappling is not that great. And we were rudely interrupted, but hey, it is what it is. My little setup turned off. But besides that, like I was saying, Aljo's grappling from his back is a little overrated. We saw Peter Yan have success against him, just kind of control him. So he doesn't really throw too much off his back, like triangles, guillotine, stuff like that. Like, don't get it twisted, it's possible, but he's more of a top guy than anything. So really, if Kattar's able to sprawl out, get on top, I could even see Kattar having success on top of Aljo and beating him up. But I think Aljo's going to lose this fight. I really, really do. I think it's just going to be a situation where he goes up in weight. I mean, he could win. I'm not going to say he can't. It's possible. Anything's possible in this world. But my pick is Kattar. I actually got a unit on Kattar's money line, and I think Kattar beats Aljamain Sterling by 3rd round TKO. I can't wait for the fight. It's going to be phenomenal. Seeing the fall of Aljamain Sterling is always worth it. Ed Devin Fuego, we're back, baby. We're back, and we're better than ever. And that Boston boy is lighting up that back hugger, and it's a wrap because Calvin Kattar said so. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go follow me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Like, comment, and share the video. Let's get this eBay Fight Prediction Nation growing. Love y'all, and goodbye.
YouTube channel. I'm gonna go check that out. And hey, subscribe to eBay's Fight Prediction. Let's keep the eBay Fight Predictions Nation growing.